Welcome. So this practice, you'll probably feel in a nice opening, I should say, in hips and low back, side body. And then if you want props nearby, I have all the props, blanket, strap, blocks, but they are not required for this. Before we kind of settle into some longer stretches, let's just move and cat-cow for a moment. I find just a little movement before settling in can feel really nice. So just come to tabletop, lift your tailbone, lift your gaze, stretch your belly, and then round your spine. Stretch all the little muscles between your spine, let your head hang. A little tiny draw of the tailbone down. And then just keep moving, follow your breath. And then just one more round. Come back to your neutral tabletop, your neutral spine. Walk your hands forward about a handprint. Toes are tucked, downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet, get a little stretch in the backs of your legs. Lift your heels high, bend your knees, look ahead, and then take little steps to the top of the mat and come to a seat. So we'll start, I'm going to sit up on a blanket, but we'll come to Gomukasana. And that looks like soles of feet together. Kind of press the big toe mounds of your feet together, and then you can flex your toes back. Take your hands next to your hips, lift them up, and then slide your sits bones back. So we do want the pelvis to tilt forward. And if you're really tight, you might have your heels close or further away from your groin, or heels draw in. And then you may even need your seat up on a blanket. So I just kind of walk my sits bones back so that I can create length in my side body as I hinge forward at the hips. You can grab on to the feet and then lead with your heart and bow your head. And you can keep the feet active, pressing into each other. Think about letting the knees drop down closer to the mat. And then you're pressing your pubic bone down to continue to help the pelvis tilt forward and get a greater opening in the hips and throughout the groin. Close your eyes, relax your jaw. Tap into your breath and lengthen your inhales and exhales. Lengthen the inhale and exhale if you can. 5 more rounds of breath. Inhale deeply. And then exhale, sigh out your mouth. Then slowly come back up. And we'll come to a straddle, seated straddle. I'm going to keep the blanket underneath my hips. Once again, pelvis tilts forward. Heels drive down. Again, you could take your hands outside your hips, lift them up, slide your sits bones back. And then from here, we'll come forward. So you can just walk your hands forward, gaze is down, or eyes are closed. If your mind wanders, take your attention back to your breath. Stay with those slow, steady inhales and exhales. You might have more room now to bring your forearms down. Or you could be up here, and that's fine too. We all have to work our stretches and respect how much our body will open up for us. The breath definitely helps. And then continue to practice stretching and opening. You'll also find you're a lot more open in your vinyasa practice or hatha, whatever other style of yoga you practice. This will just help open up in several poses in your practice. A few more rounds of breath. Inhale deeply, and then sigh. Walk your hands back up. And then you'll take your right knee, bend it, and bring your right foot in close to the groin. Click the toes down. You can even have your fingers lifting the outer heel up a little bit. And keep this heel still having some pressure down. And then we'll take the left elbow, just kind of on the thigh, or you might have it up on a block. This is where you might want to use a block. And then you can take your right arm all the way up, inhale, flip the palm so the thumb turns away from your face, and then take the forearm behind your low back, like a little half bind. And then from here, you can just continue to see how deep you can go without the chest folding. So we're looking for a big side stretch here for the side body and the low back. And then this half bind, I think, helps just kind of keep the chest open. So again, your elbow can be on a block to give you some height or a bolster. You can get a nice little neck stretch here if you let the head just be supported by a fist or a hand. Soft gaze or close your eyes. Let's take about 10 rounds of breath here. Slow and steady. And as you breathe and lengthen your inhales and exhales, you might find that your side body starts to lengthen. Feel a little bit more open between the rib cage. Soften your jaw and the space between your eyebrows. The full weight of your head be supported by your hand. Three more rounds of breath. Good, and then inhale, breath. Exhale, release. And then slowly come back up. See if you feel a difference already between this side and that side. Before we move to the other side and feel a little even, go ahead and turn your chest so that your sternum lines up with the inner thigh of your left leg. Keep sliding your sits bones back. And then from here, this can get a little bit more intense as we add a bit of a twist. So you could have one hand surrounding each side of the extended leg and then just let your head hang, or you might even take a block. And then just let yourself settle in. We'll be here about 8 to 10 rounds of breath. And just find that length. Connect back to your breath. Inhale deeply. Exhale, release. And then slowly come up. Once again, just notice here the difference between the sides. And then let's even ourselves out. So you'll take your right leg long, bend your left knee, click the toes down. Again, you can lift up the inner heel, walk your sits bones back, and press your right heel down into the mat. And then take your right elbow down. You can rest the elbow on your thigh, let your head just hang here. And then for the half bind, you'll reach the left arm up, turn the thumb away from your face, and then take the forearm behind your low back. Know that there you could feel a vast difference between the sides, so use props as necessary or not. And then let the weight of your head just be heavy in your hands. And connect to your breath. And anytime you notice your mind wander, just bring your attention back to your breath. So we use yoga as this opportunity to connect our breath and our body, kind of see what's going on. But also in this particular practice to just open up the side body. As we have bad posture or hunch over, we start to have a smaller distance between the pelvis and the rib cage, and we want to keep that lengthened. That'll help keep your hips happy, hip flexor, back, posture. Three more rounds of breath. Inhale. Exhale. Slowly come back up. We have one more to do on this side. So again, it's a little bit more of a twist. Turn your sternum toward your extended leg and then line up your chest with your inner thigh. You can always have a block or a bolster here to rest underneath the forehead. or just let your head hang down. So you may be super tight here, and that's okay. We're working on starting to open up that space. So just go easy, especially if you're really tight. You're finding like that first edge. So if you went all the way, you're trying to be like stretching to 100%, and then there's nowhere to go with that stretch, or perhaps you're forcing yourself into it and sacrificing alignment or pulling a muscle. So you just want to stay nice and calm, starting to feel that light stretch, and then using your breath to deepen. Inhale deeply. Exhale, release. Slowly come up. And then you can just take both legs out in front of you and shake them out. So next we'll come to a cross-legged seat, or you'll come to Gomukasana, which is a little bit deeper hip stretch. So we'll start with the right leg on top. So you're either crossing your legs, totally fine to be up on a blanket still, or you'll slide the left knee more into the midline and we'll stack the right knee on top. And then you try to even out the sits bones. So even if one side of your blanket is a double fold and the other side is a single fold, that's okay. You just want to even out your sits bones. And then take your hands, plant them down into the earth, lift your sits bones, and then take them back. Fix my mic. Okay, and then from here, you can take your left hand down, or maybe your left forearm down to a block. Keep your right sits bone rooted down. So once again, the right knee is on top of the left. You can always help stack the knees. And then open up your right side chest and take your right arm up and over. Keep your right sits bone heavy. And then you can turn the chest up or the gaze up or keep it down. You can also take the right hand and just give the top of the right hip a little weight, kind of pressing down, lengthening there. No body really heavy. Inhale deeply. Exhale, release. Slowly come on up. And then we'll switch sides. So unwind the right. Take the left out in front, maybe shake the knees. And then other side. So right knee's on bottom. And then you take the left leg on top. Remember, you can come to a cross-legged seat. Prop up the hips as much as you need to. Bring the floor to you. You still want the pelvis to tilt forward. And then you can take your right forearm down to your mat or a block. And gaze can be up or down. And then you can take your left arm up and over. That might feel good. Or you could take your left hand, add some little weight to the top of your left hip and press down. Sits bones heavy. And then breathe into this pretty deep outer hip opening. Might feel this in your IT band. You can visualize your muscles opening up between your rib cage. And just get this nice opening through your side body and back body. Maybe you feel a little bit more open in this pose based on some of the ones we did before. Inhale deeply. Exhale, release. And then come on up. Nice and slow. Unwind your legs. And then come to your back. And we'll find happy baby pose. So knees toward the armpits. Roll your pelvis forward. And then soles of feet toward the ceiling. Grab the outside of the feet or the thighs even. You could grab the shins and do like a half happy baby. So whichever one works for you right now. Just a few rounds of breath. You could add a little movement, rock a little side to side. And then take your knees together, give yourself a big hug. take a moment for gratitude for your body, for making this time for yourself, for anybody who supported you doing this practice. Inhale deeply. And then exhale, release, Shavasana. Just make any little adjustments you need to surrender. And walk your scapula together. Take your legs wide, let your feet fall off to either side. Your arms are away from your body. And then just let yourself settle in for a few moments of just stillness, silence. Take a body scan, make sure everything feels nice and relaxed and calm. And that you're not holding tension anywhere in your face or jaw. Please stay here as long as you can. I'd suggest 10 to 20 minutes. Just notice how you feel now. Notice how you feel when you come out of your practice. And if you do have the time to take this longer Shavasana, your body will tell you when you've completed the pose. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.